Coming up on this edition of 15 News. The snow is not letting up anytime soon, but Southfield DPW is here to help keep the roads clear. We'll show you how you can help them get the job done just by doing one simple thing. Then, our friends at Premier Pet Supply give us the rundown on how to properly dress our four-legged pals for those brutally cold temps. Plus, it's not a day off, it's a day on, and we'll give you a recap of this year's annual MLK Day commemoration and how one local art gallery is helping others protest peacefully through their creative works. You can catch all of this and more in this edition of 15 News. Even though we're counting down the days until spring, winter isn't letting up anytime soon. The Southfield Department of Public Works has already battled plenty of snow this season, and they're preparing for more to come.
We have 9 dump trucks like the one behind me that go out and do underbodying and salting and liquid de-icing. So when we get the call, we have 9 people in to cover the entire city. First and foremost, we stay on the major roads. We will run 12-hour shifts, so 12 on, 12 off, 2 complete crews. We go into the side streets as soon as the snow event ends, and we finish all the major roads. Then we go into the priority 2, which is our local streets.
To help them expedite their job, the DPW asks that drivers use caution when they see the big yellow truck.
The driver, first of all, they can't stop the truck. You know, if you've got a full load of salt, it takes more to stop the truck than it does a car. They have controls inside, so they are multitasking as they're working. So when cars go around us or cut in front of us, the driver's already he's already busy and he's already doing a lot of things. So give the guys some room so that they can perform their work and be involved in 0 accidents.
Cultivating food was and still is one of the top hobbies trending during the pandemic. It's a socially distant activity that not only can provide a bountiful harvest with some hard work, but it can help cultivate the love for nature and appreciation for our local farmers. For those who are looking to try out their green thumb this season, Mary Thompson Farm can help you out. Right now, there are plots still available for starting your first small garden. The season starts soon, so now's the time to reserve your spot and pick out the vegetables, fruits, and plants you'd like to sow and grow.
So the garden has about 90 plots currently, and we do have room for future expansion. The growing season is from April through October. The farm provides locals a real sense of community in a safe and socially distant environment. New gardeners can reserve a plot on a first-come, first-served basis starting March 8th. Those plots are going to be about 400 square feet, and it's $70 for residents and $85 for non-residents for the rental season. The city will provide the land, water, and administrative support for the gardeners, and then we also offer rental garden tools, public parking, restrooms, and we also have activity space here for garden programs. For more information about the garden and other Parks and Recreation programs, people can visit our webpage, Parks and Recreation Department, on cityofsouthfield.com. Or they can also check out our new activities guide. If somebody wants to reserve a plot, they can call the Parks and Rec Department front desk. And that phone number is 248-796-4650.
Margins is a brand new book group for older teens, and we have 4 books that you can pick up and check out. They all have the MMM on them. They tell you exactly how to do there's directions on the program right in the book, and all you have to do is come over here, grab the book. You will need a library card, hopefully a Southfield Public Library card, check it out, and then guess what? As the title, Meet Me in the Margins, explains, you can read and then write your feelings anywhere along the margins of the book, any observations that you have. These are all amazing books that have been around. Some are newer than others, There's a lot of information if you're interested in finding out about the books before you read them so you can decide which one to start with. There's lots everywhere online. So please look up all these programs and so many more, www.southfieldlibrary.org. We have virtual and in-person options, and hopefully we'll have even more in the coming months.
This month is National Stalking Awareness Month. Each year, an estimated 6 to 7.5 million people are stalked in the United States. Aside from causing emotional and psychological distress, stalking can also lead to physical and sexual violence. When it comes to stalking, a lot of people assume that if they just ignore the behavior that it will eventually go away. Unfortunately, that rarely happens. Keep in mind that people who stalk others are already violating boundaries and making their targets feel unsafe. For this reason, it's important to take steps to protect yourself. Here are 6 precautionary measures you can take to help prevent stalking. Number 1, find a safe place to go if someone is following you. For instance, go to the nearest police station, a friend's house, or some other public place. Know where these locations are and how to quickly get there. Number 2, carry your cell phone with you at all times and keep it charged. You want to be able to call for help if you need to, as well as use the camera function to document photo or video evidence of stalking taking place. Number 3, trust your instincts. If you feel like something is wrong or unsafe, trust your gut. Consider leaving the uncomfortable situation, even if nothing is happening at the moment. Usually, your instincts or gut reaction is your first warning that you are in danger. Number 4, vary your routes and your routines. If you always take the same route to work or walk your dog at the same time every day, these patterns make it easier for a stalker to find you and monitor your activities. Number 5, try not to go to too many places alone. Although it may be difficult to have someone with you at all times, the less time you are alone when you're out, the better. Number 6, be cautious of what you post online. Even if you have blocked the person stalking you online, there are ways for them to see what you're up to. So be sure you are not sharing too many details about your life. You should also avoid checking in to different locations online. Doing so allows the person stalking you to know where you are at the moment. If you or someone you know is a victim of stalking, the best thing to do is act as soon as possible. If you are in immediate danger, call 911 or ask a neighbor to call if you are unable. If you are not in immediate danger but wish to report the incident, call the Southfield Police Department non-emergency number. That number is 1248-796-5500 or come to the Southfield Police Department.
As we get into the new year, per state law, in-person city council meetings have been reestablished inside council chambers. The normal protocols are still in place. All attendees are required to wear a mask to enter the building. For the full city council meeting schedule and to check up on upcoming council agendas, visit the city website at cityofsouthfield.com. Even though we are back to meeting in person on the city council level, we must still be mindful of COVID as we are now in the middle of the Omicron variant spread. I would like to take a quick minute to review some helpful reminders as we all strive to be safe and prevent the latest strain of COVID. Number 1, vaccines remain the best health measure to protect you from the transmission of COVID, as well as reduce the likelihood of new variants emerging. Vaccines are available at various outlets like CVS and Walgreens, and Southfield has been offering vaccinations in the pavilion as well. Number 2, get your booster shot. After completing vaccines, booster shots are the next highly recommended measure to fight against COVID. Medical experts recommend getting a booster 5 to 6 months after getting a Pfizer or Moderna vaccination and 2 months after getting a Johnson & Johnson vaccination. Many studies have shown that booster shots are highly effective at preventing severe illness, hospitalization, and death brought on by COVID. Number 3, mask up. Masks offer protection against all variants. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control, have recommended wearing a mask in all public indoor settings, especially in areas of substantial or high community transmission, regardless of your vaccine status. Number 4, get COVID testing. There are now various at-home tests that can be taken. These tests, called antigen tests, work by looking for the presence of specific proteins associated with the coronavirus. If they are detected, a positive result appears on a test strip in a matter of minutes, much like an at-home pregnancy test. Speaking of COVID, the city continues to operate seamlessly despite the challenges presented by the virus. I want to again thank city employees for their commitment and dedication in keeping the city operating at a high level and ensuring that we are delivering vital services to the community. As we move forward into the year, we are determined to work together to maintain Southfield's status as a great city to live, work, and play in one of southeastern Michigan's key economic engines. This has been your Council President's Update. May God bless you, your family, and the city of Southfield. Thank you.
All right, so we absolutely got to make sure we're keeping in mind, keep our pets warm on those long walks in this cold Michigan weather. So getting a coat or a sweater is ideal, especially for short-coated dogs. Now, the thing to keep in mind is we don't want to just buy these because they look cute. We want to make sure that they have a function. So making sure that there's some water resistancy on top for the snow and sometimes the rain. This one absolutely has a reflective aspect to it, which is great. And then it's fleece lined, and that fleece really keeps the dogs warm, just like our own coats as well. Now, when sizing these, you want to make sure that it fits good, it's not loose, and it actually allows the dog to be comfortable. And especially for walking, you don't want it to be too tight. Now, the measurements on these typically go from the base of the neck to the base of the tail. So if you see, and take a physical measurement of a 14 inches from the base of the neck to the dog's base of the tail, that's exactly the size that you're going to get here at the store. But I recommend bringing the pet in, having an associate help you to make sure that's fitting properly. That way you get, the most ideal fit and the best one for your pet, because there's many options. They also do look really good, but they do function well, and we make sure of that at our stores. And it's one of those things that's really important to keep in mind.
Beyond keeping a child occupied, toys do so much more. They provide valuable playtime that not only helps develop fine motor skills, problem solving, and imagination, but gives them a friend like themselves to look up to. But for many minorities, past generations did not have the privilege of playing with toys that represented them.
It was always very hard for my mother, who would only want to buy me black and brown dolls, to find dolls that weren't caricatures and that were, positive representations of Black people. And so I didn't have very many until I got older and I could buy them myself.
Coletta Peterson is a crocheter and ragdoll creator who was inspired to make brown dolls after seeing the lack of representation of minorities in toys. But Coletta didn't get her real start until she experienced the sudden life change.
I had no idea what I was doing. I initially started crocheting just towels and scarves, so much to the point that I thought my family would start a coup. And I found a book at the library on how to make dolls, a little basic doll, and I went from there. And I worked on it for about a year until I was comfortable, and the first doll I made was only something Frankenstein could love. And then once, I finally got the hang of, parts and assembly, I was kind of hooked. And I've been making dolls ever since.
Coletta hopes her custom-made rag dolls will help give other children of color a special friend that they will cherish forever.
As a doll maker, when you're thinking of representation and making dolls that represent small children, big kids, adults love dolls as well, it just fills your heart with so much pride when something that you've set out to do to represent someone or a culture and it's finally seen in what you do. It brings so much joy and so much pride. I love what I do.
Through the end of February, you can see some of Coletta's rag dolls on display, as well as many other collectibles at the Black Dolls Matter exhibit at the Southfield Public Library. To honor the legacy of the late Dr. King, the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force hosted a drive for freedom, justice, and equity that took place on January 17th. Various residents, businesses, and organizations from all over the Tri-County area came out to participate in this very important march, which started at the Hope United Methodist Church and wrapped up with a drive-through food giveaway at the Southfield Parks and Rec building.
Today was just a community volunteerism. We had so many organizations that either drove or came to the Parks and Recreation to help pass out the food. So we usually get a lot of participation, but I just think it was just so much bigger this year, it seems like.
In light of the past and recent struggles that many minorities have faced in the United States, organizers use this event as a way to spread the message of equal rights and why we need to come together more than ever.
I just want to let everybody know that today, another slight difference is that we're not really celebrating the holiday, as more so commemorating, because we felt that, and we were asked too by Dr. King's family, that we couldn't really celebrate until we all had voting rights. The Voting Rights Acts were passed in Washington. We all need free and fair elections. And that's one of the major things Dr. King fought for. And so we couldn't celebrate this day without continuing his fight. So we're commemorating, and we'll come back for a bigger celebration when we have fair and free elections.
In collaboration with the City of Southfield and the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force, Southfield Multimedia Services also aired the annual MLK Community Commemoration Program that can be seen on our YouTube channel. Throughout history, art has always been prevalent. It captures not only culture on canvas, but reveals the triumphs and tribulations that past artists have seen and suffered. Recently, an art gallery in Southfield called upon local creatives to showcase their works that demonstrate the current climate of our society.
We're seeing so much discord today amongst the races and just things going on, police brutality like we saw in the 60s, and things just starting to repeat itself.
Ian Grant is the CEO and curator of Umoja Fine Arts and has given a voice and a stage to many national and international artists through his gallery.
It's very important that we capture history and we tell history the correct way, and we be truthful about what happens, no matter how shameful it might be to either party. It's very important that we are accurate when we tell history. And so this is what the paintings are doing pretty much. We're capturing it, so it's being solidified. And you have what actually happened during that time period. So you cannot erase that part of history.
In January, Grant used his space to commemorate the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with various painters, sculptors, and mixed media creators in the hopes that they would help spread a message of justice.
It seems as if we've taken one step forward and two steps backwards. And it's all being based on the nation's law and the nation's rules. And that's really what I wanted to emotionally portray and depict in my piece titled 100-Year Fight. And I wanted to show the patriotic side by embellishing stars inside of the piece, but like I said, also the historical side by adding those collaged images of our historical figures.
So the equality piece is one of a kind of a set that I did and do where I'm taking figures from the civil rights movement and the Black experience, and I'm trying to come up with one word that crystallizes who that person is, what their spirit is, what they were trying to accomplish when they were here.
To learn more about the works of art on display at Umoja Fine Arts, go to umojafinearts.com. And that about does it for this edition of 15 News. You can also catch all of these amazing stories aired during this program on the Southfield Multimedia Services Facebook page and YouTube channel. For 15 News, my name is Chris Campbell, and we'll see you next time.